icon that only the user knows that will identify that they are on Facebook to identify that it is not a phishing site or something to that effect. But I think that's the right track that OAuth ought to be moving towards, is that not having to leave the site. There are definitely bugs and there are definitely issues and support issues, and I'm not trying to portray Facebook as the ultimate end-all be-all. I think Twitter is also going in the right direction where they have their own strengths and weaknesses, just like Facebook does. So don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be negative towards anyone here.
And I just want to add and clarify that this is a new product. This was launched in April, I'm pretty sure, right? Correct? And is it still technically in beta, or yeah, it's still technically in beta, meaning that there's still going to be bugs. This is not like Gmail beta where it's pretty much a done product for 6.5 years. This is going to take work. It's been around less than 6 months. But with that, just as one more question, and then it's going to open up to the audience. Person with the best question, we'll give you a cookie or something, some prize. But before that, pizza. That's going to be a prize. But this panel is titled OAuth Secrets. So I'm going to ask each of you to give away one secret about OAuth. And
He actually prepped us with this question. I still don't really have necessarily an answer. Yeah, there are no secrets. I think one of the big things we're looking at internally, again, is just trying to figure out how to give a better experience to it. And I don't know if there's necessarily a secret, but trying to expose and maintain the proper experience for each of these devices. And we are trying to work with as many devices and as many modes as possible, and trying to find a way to work with each of those is difficult. So I guess the secret is that we're working on it hard. And it's a really hard problem, but we're trying to get better and put a lot of resources towards it, because for us it's the future of the platform. Totally done.
Okay, instead of a secret, I just have an irony. All the developers who jumped on the OAuth during the DDoS attack couldn't get on last week or the week before. And then people like us who are like lazy and still in basic auth, our clients were getting on and doing fine. So that's just sort of like this reverse. Instead of rewarding these poor OAuth developers who did the right thing, they got hammered.
That's right, yeah.
I apologize, I don't have an OAuth secret, but I would like to share a people browser secret, because I know we have, this is mainly developers, and that is that we want to lead the way in building chargeable applications for Twitter, and so in 60 days, people browser will be moving to a pricing plan.
So first I'm going to respond to Andrew. Certainly OAuth there's a lot more involved with the OAuth handshake than passing basic auth credentials, and some of the measures we took to counteract the DDoS attack inadvertently affected OAuth. So, OAuth is the future. It does have problems. It is in beta. We're working on it. If you have the opportunity and feel comfortable, you should feel comfortable using OAuth. We recommend you do it. My secret is it's very Twitter-esque. We're humble. We don't have all the answers, and a lot of times developers will come to us and say, this is wrong, and this is wrong, without offering solutions. So my secret is, this may not be, the full OAuth experience may not come directly from Twitter itself. It may come from developers like you, it may come from suggestions like Jesse Stay. Rather than complain, offer something. We may not know what the best experience is for your users, but you may. So, come to us with your suggestions, and you never know, it may end up being implemented in Twitter.
Yeah, I have a secret along that line too. I mentioned earlier that OAuth is open. It's a completely open standard. You or any other developer have just as much a responsibility as Twitter does to get in and adapt your code to do what you want it to do, and adapt your libraries to improve and work better. In the Pro community, one of the greatest contributions, I think, was the addition of NetOAuth into the Net Twitter libraries and making that process easier. I'm working on a authentication tool for Catalyst in Perl that will enable you to easily authenticate using the Catalyst MVC framework. You can get in, go to OAuth, go to wiki.oauth.net. There's a whole section there on how you can contribute. Same as what Doug was saying there. Make your I hope I've remained constructive in some of the criticisms I've made, and if I'm not, put me in line. But make your criticisms constructive. But more than anything, you have full control to make this what you want it to be. So get in and contribute. We're all developers.
I have a question. I think Tipjoy did a mashup of OAuth. So I going to Andrew's point on Jody's point that you have to implement only when all your other apps who are calling your app have implemented OAuth. Tipjoy did the mashup with OAuth way back in April. Why can't Twitter just include that or something like that already in OAuth and allow that to other developers? Or maybe I'm being naive, I don't know what's...
This deals with the ability for third-party apps to connect with other third-party apps. Tipjoy kind of came up with this method to pass tokens and keys to get around the limitation that OAuth has, where it's very difficult to do so. So that's actually not up to us. We could put a stamp of approval, like we support this, I suppose. But given the beta nature of OAuth and the fact that we may come up with something better, we just haven't done that yet. You're fully able to do that as a third-party developer. The only thing we could do is, like I said, offer a stamp of approval, but that's kind of one of the later things that we need to tackle. I think more pertinent are the mobile experience and the stability and performance and things like that before we got to the point where we felt comfortable doing that.
Can Jody answer that?
I think it's the same issue. That if I was working for Twitter, I would say internally, guys, we just have to give everyone lots of notice, and we have to draw a line in the sand. And by December 31, 2009, everyone needs to be on OAuth. That's the only way we're going to actually pull this all together. And at some point, you guys will feel comfortable doing that.
I think just to add on to Doug's point, another big piece of this is the ability to revoke a application's authorization. And once you start passing around tokens, you don't know which applications are using it, and it totally breaks the model. So it's not something that at least I'm interested in its current form, but I think there should be ways to be able to hand off or get some type of fourth-party authentication, or the services should also just start supporting unauthenticated passes of images and stuff like that. So there are other solutions, and I think Jody's right. Once the line in the sand is drawn, things will change a little bit, but we're not there yet. So.
Yeah, I just want to put in
Cool,
I
right?
promise I won't mention Facebook too much in this, but Facebook is doing this in their
Paid nothing
API,
for it,
and they have actual API
Well,
calls that you can
actually,
pass
paid for it. The conference.
authorization from one application to another, so that Facebook is aware of every single pass off and handoff, and what that application and what exactly that application has handed off to the other application. That might be a way for Twitter to embrace it down the road, is just to have an entirely new API around the application handoff. But I don't know. That would be my suggestion, but I don't know what you guys are talking internally, or if that will happen in the future or not.
Jesse and I had this discussion at 2 o'clock at night.
This is what nerds do.
Yeah, I'd love to open it up.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks as though I actually opened it up to questions. But if you have a question, just raise your hand. I'll bring you the mic if it can reach. Actually, I saw your hand first, so I'll let you start.